Don't you love that sweet, sweet stench of racism in the morning? Good! Me neither! Now, I suppose that you're all familiar with the works of PragerU. If not, please leave immediately. Or if you alternatively appreciate pain, like I do, then feel free to stay. PragerU, for the unaware, is an online university determined to teach young people all the things that they will need in their life, like why college is actually stupid or why colonization was actually not that bad. And in this very short video, they call the Europeans out. Europeans need to start speaking out or watch their culture disappear. Great, great. No, really great, because unlike Will Wheat over here, I'm actually European, so I'm allowed to talk about the matter. And by European, I mean white, but we're later, right? Later. But before we jump into that one, it'd be good to learn a little bit about our speaker. You know, very different results can come from different people talking about the same subject. If Sean talks about racial oppression, and if Roaming Millionaire do as well, well, you're going to get very different results. Aren't you? Likewise, if I talk about immigration, and if Will Wheat does, well, you're going to get equally different results. Different, but not equal. One of us is lying, and that's not me. And Will, just so that the people are aware, I know you dropped out. Now, I'm not going to dunk on people who dropped out because some had very good reasons for that. But in your case, yeah, might be why you got such amazing debating skills.
Gender and biological sex are two different things.
They're the same thing.
They're not the same thing.
They're the same thing.
So, that video, well, if I go over it point by point, you know, he lies, I give the stats and tell why he lies, is going to make for a very boring video. And while it might be fun to see someone be ripped a new one, I think I'm going to mix things up. So, Will, are you okay? Let's make it roll.
All throughout Western Europe where migrants have come, rape, violence, and other crimes have all gone up. What's up, guys? This is Will Witt with PragerU, and open border policies are destroying Europe.
Alright, I've said that I would go point by point, right? But I want you to remember what he just said, because it's going to come in play later, alright?
Let's talk about Paris, the city of lights. Too bad Paris is no longer Paris. It's now infested with rats, graffiti, high crime, sexual assault, just to name a few. Muslim migrants have set up migrant camps all across Paris that's littered with trash and debris.
Alright, lots to work here with. So first, Paris is no longer Paris. Well, darling, that's for me to judge here, because unlike you, I'm actually French, and unlike you, I went here, well, this very week. And I actually got that coat. It looks amazing. So, Paris, everything is still horribly overpriced. But besides that, nothing has changed that much. But obviously that's not what our good friend over here means. No, what he means is that Paris has changed because of the migrants. Now, migrants, if you didn't know, were mostly concentrated in the same arrondissement, places with kind of high crime and, well, prices are much lower. For instance, le 10e arrondissement. However, if you go to the 17th, 18th, 19th arrondissement, well, things are kind of the same. Watson actually does the same thing.
Imagine my
He
shop.
paints a picture of a glorious town, a glorious place, and then use it to make a striking comparison to its glorious past. But was Paris ever glorious in that regard? Was it glorious in the 50s when it needed migrants to rebuild itself and house them in horrible conditions? Was it glorious in the 1850s when Haussmann destroyed the old Paris almost completely and had very poor people from all over France come here and be housed in horrible conditions? But now to get to Prager's claim, is it true that migrants bring more crimes? Well, it's kind of hard to say because almost all the newspapers who claim that it is true. How can I put that? Now, does that mean that there is no link to be found between higher crimes and immigration? Well, no, according to the German study, it would mean that
In diesem Volke, da stehen wir, mit diesem Volk leben wir, mit ihm sind wir verbunden auf Gedeih und auf Verderb.
the problem though with that study is that it doesn't really advise to re-immigrate the migrants. What it advises is more integration, more money to be spent on the migrant, and also if some German people could stop being so fucking racist, that'd be actually kind of swell. Okay, but now let's say France, and in our grand racism tour of Europe, let's see which awesome new place will we visit next. England!
And what about London, where the police are more worried about catching people using hate speech on Facebook instead of the actual crime that is destroying their city? Acid attacks are on the rise in London, and just last year 23,000 crimes were committed on mopeds, compared to the 827 of 2012.
The police. Why aren't they beating the damn migrants up, eh? Why are they perusing Facebook looking for hate crimes? That's not what I want my taxpayer money to be used. Now, the idea that the British police is now only focused on destroying hate speech on Facebook, it's mostly a straw man created by the alt-right to defend its right to have a safe space to spread their bullshit. Of course, the system is not, it's not perfect. Let's just say that. But you get the idea. As we already mentioned, what migrants need is more integration and less racism from the native population. So the fact that that Scottish guy was arrested, well, I can't be unhappy or too happy. No one fucking knows what he said. Also, plus 10 points for mentioning Orwell. You fucking clod! But what about the Muppets crimes? Well, once again, and I didn't address that up until now, and I'm very sorry, but PragerU didn't really link any study, just a journal. So how am I supposed now to find which article is the good one? So I got this one, and well, Will, between you and me, if you want a journal to support your racist view, maybe don't pick a lefty one, because you know, lefties aren't too well known for condoning racism. And it kind of shows, you know. So no, here you can't find any correlation between migrants and those Muppets crimes. Are PragerU people that fucking lazy? Like, the video is just 2 minutes, can't you fact check them for once? Alright, so you got the idea. Crazy leftists will follow their ideology wherever it may lead, even if that means that they're going to force down everyone's throat their migrant-loving policies, and that those damn migrants are going to throw it at everyone's faces. Which is actually very sad, because the question of immigration and higher crimes is a very interesting one, though people from PragerU or the likes of Zemmour lack the subtlety to actually tackle that subject very properly. But between you and me, you know it's not just about that. It's not just about the migrants. It's about what they represent. First and foremost, fascists are terrified by one thing: the destruction of the culture of the motherland. And migrants play into that. They are the foreign, the unknown, and I don't need to tell you how people like little of both those things. And that poll by Sputnik, even if it's true, it doesn't mean that migrants are actually more dangerous than native people. It just means that those native people consider them to be more dangerous. And the alt-right, the fascists, they are playing into that age-old fear. Back in the 19th century in France, deputies were scared that German immigrants would come here and take our jobs and rape our women. Now time has passed, and the threat of people inside of Europe has decreased, whereas the threat of people outside of Europe has increased. But not everyone is treated equally, which also just proves that PragerU didn't really do its homework very nicely. Doesn't that sound a little bit familiar? That's right, here she comes again. It's the Great Replacement. How are you? You're not going to go anywhere, are you? Did you miss her? Me neither. For those of you sleeping in the back, The Great Replacement is the idea that the elites, mainly big politicians, also the Jews, are orchestrating a forced immigration in Europe to replace the locals with a different group. Here, Muslims. And this video right here plays into that very fear. The idea that you're going to be replaced by people who are very dangerous, of people who don't share the same culture, and as a result are trying to destroy right there in Europe. They idolized, however, that past, because it's in this past that doesn't exist anymore and quite frankly has never existed, that they find the justification for their hatred. So, do you ever wonder why fascists are so focused on women? You know, women being raped, women being subjected to sexual violence. That's because women bear life. They bear the next generation, the promise of a 1,000-year-old Reich. Thus, immigration is almost always linked to rape, sexual assault. Because if women fell to the migrants, the Chad migrants and their giant cocks, well, then you get mixing of the races. And that's a huge no-no. That's purity. And the idea to protect Europe's purity, it's not just to go back in time, it's also to freeze it, to create this perfect timeline where everyone is in their lanes, everyone in their own country, and no one ever comes out of it. It's the idea that obviously Europe is better without immigration. Now, forget of course that with Germany rapidly declining birth rate, in a few decades there won't be any Germany to defend, or that France owes its reconstruction to immigration, or that America's forcefully let people come to its soil, and that still exists. Forget that. A cultural war is at play between two forces, one of good and one of evil. And in this war, you either fight off or you submit. What a fantastic video! Once again, if you liked it, share, comment, subscribe. My Twitter is over here. I'm going to put out a very big video in the beginning of October. I don't think there will be anything of those very shorter ones in the meantime, because school has started again and it's my last year of university, so I don't really want to mess things up too bad, right? I plan on being an actually good student. Once again, I hope you liked it. I'd be very happy if you did. And see you soon for more racism, more sexism, more homophobia and more transphobia, and on Mary destroys her last remaining brain cells. Bye bye.